Modern diplomacy, 21st of February 2024, is the Indian Ocean transforming into a South China Sea replica? China, in pursuit of an all-out war against the Indian subcontinent, is amassing fleets of vessels for deployment in the Indian Ocean. Additionally, its quasi-naval fishing fleets are dispersed throughout the Indian Ocean, engaging in illicit fishing activities. Numerous Western detractors frequently compare Chinese territorial expansion to the British East Indian Company in the 21st century. The substantial occupation of Chinese vessels in the Indian Ocean for various objectives resembles how China initially established dominance in the South China Sea. Beijing places equal emphasis on the Pacific and Indian Oceans to safeguard the maritime route network. The scholarly term Indo-Pacific Space, Indopazifscher Raum, was initially introduced in 1920 by the German geopolitical theorist Karl Haushofer to denote the imperative of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Overall, the security ambitions of the United States and China in the Indo-Pacific regions have expanded due to their shared perception of threats. Chinese leverage in the Indian Ocean is similar to their power in the Pacific Ocean, given the critical role both oceans fulfill in China's pursuit of becoming the next superpower. An astute observer would discern that the expanding security dynamics in the Indian Ocean are affecting the Indian subcontinent and that resorting to aggression to resolve the issue in the Indian Ocean could exacerbate the repercussions. The most recent event that caused a commotion in regional security architecture was the visit of the Chinese research vessel Xiangyang Hong 03 to the Maldives. The Maldives granted permission to the Chinese vessel after China confirmed that its mission was to contribute to the scientific comprehension of the ocean and operate for peaceful purposes. The visit of Xiangyang Hong 03 is associated with the expanding Sino-Maldivian alliance following the inauguration of Mohamed Mutsu, the newly elected president of the Maldives, who recently concluded a fruitful vacation in China. The Maldives' inclination towards China exacerbates India's security concerns in the Indian Ocean, undermining its regional security framework. The Maldives' departure from Delhi's orbit bears resemblance to the manner in which Sri Lanka established a relationship with China during the Rajapaksa regime, leading to the establishment of a formidable Chinese presence in the vicinity of India. The expansion and progressive transformation of the Indian Ocean region by the Chinese sphere of influence has failed in the Indo-US strategic partnership. The Maldives' acceptance of Xiangyang Hong 03 had immediate repercussions when, within a few days, India apprehended a group of Maldivian fishermen in their exclusive economic zone, symbolizing India's ire. On the Sri Lankan front, the INS Karanj, an Indian Navy submarine, made its maiden voyage to a foreign port since its commissioning, arriving in Colombo port before Sri Lankan independence. The visit of INS Karanj is scheduled to align with the prohibition of Chinese research vessels from operating within Colombo's executive economic zone or anchoring at its ports for 1 year. This decision was issued in response to a request from the highest diplomatic channels in New Delhi. Before passing, Kissinger declared that the ongoing tension between the United States and China could lead to a global predicament akin to World War I. Historiography demonstrates that British annoyance at German naval expansion paved the way for the First World War. The present-day Chinese naval aspirations are comparable to the Triptych trap that Kaiser-era Imperial Germany encountered in the early 20th century. Similar to the approach taken in the South China Sea, Beijing can alter the balance of power in the Indian Ocean. The Chinese naval expansion under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping brought to light their significant strategic interest in the Indian Ocean. An individual with former admiral rank of the plan expressed hesitancy to acknowledge the Indian Ocean as an area exclusively under India's control, given the evident necessity for China to strengthen its influence in the region to confront the Malacca dilemma. Beijing's approach towards the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea is strikingly similar. As an illustration, China regularly deployed fishing vessels to the South China Sea during its nascent phase, which subsequently evolved into establishing artificial islands and other maritime structures. Beijing's steadfast refusal to recognize the International Arbitration Court's decision demonstrates its flagrant disregard for international law. It is abundantly clear that the Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean has progressed to an irreversible stage. Beyond economic advancement, in 2017, China established its inaugural overseas military base in Djibouti, citing the need to ensure regional stability as its justification. China's approach towards the Indian Ocean has been gradual, commencing with strategic cooperation and culminating in gradual incursions, all to facilitate the gradual amplification of its maritime capabilities. The Chinese strategy of gradual penetration yields higher success due to its unity with undermining the country's financial and political vulnerabilities. Using its financial influence in Colombo, China, having legitimized its Colombo Port City project and acquired Hambantota Port for 99 years, undermined any potential Indo-American strategic ambitions involving Sri Lanka. The August 2022 decision by Colombo to authorize the Chinese espionage vessel Yuan Wang 5, notwithstanding the security concerns expressed by Delhi, should be understood within the framework of China's default control over Sri Lanka. A denial of Chinese territorial expansion in the Indian Ocean is not a reasonable conjecture. The extent to which Beijing has established its influence in the Indian Ocean, from the port of Gwadar in Pakistan to Hambantota in Sri Lanka and now the Maldives, which appear to have fallen into its orbit, is beyond speculation. Recently, Maldivian authorities welcomed the Chinese Strategic Support Force, SSF, of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, aboard the vessel. The SSF, according to the World According to China author Elizabeth C. Economy, is intended to function as a coordinating organization for military and civilian research. Severe security concerns are raised if the recurrent visits of Chinese espionage ships masquerading as scientific research or hypothesis is accurate. Furthermore, China's incursion into the immediate vicinity of India will alert New Delhi to China's naval aspirations, thereby strengthening the security alliance between the United States and Indonesia by mobilizing diverse security alliances such as Quad and AUKUS. Concurrently, its wolf warrior diplomacy and emphasis on physical power, debt traps, and manipulation of local elites bolster China's reputation as a revisionist power. Scholars spanning multiple generations, including Mackinder and Kaplan, have frequently emphasized the enduring significance of the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean is the gravitational center due to the evolving Chinese presence in the region, which poses a challenge to the Indo-Pacific strategy led by the United States and India. The United States-led allies of India are presently working towards formalizing security alliances to establish a rule-based order. In contrast, China is occupied with the expansion of its naval capabilities. The ongoing security crisis in the Indian Ocean is similar to the German maritime development in the Atlantic Ocean preceding the outbreak of World War I.